Hello, hello, hello. Flitzanu. We probably know each other. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we don't. Anyway, it's January 2nd, 2015. And I thought I would follow the trend and do a little 2014 year in recap for anyone that cares. Also, normally I don't do vlog type stuff on this channel, so if anyone cares to, you know, if you ever want to know what's going on in my head, I do have another channel called Flitzanu in real life. So I do vlogs there, not many lately, but you know, that's more real things. So so that's there if you wanted to check it out. Anyway, so 2014, we'll just dive in. 2014 was a good year, I guess. It was good to me. I didn't really have anything terribly amazing or terribly crazy happen in 2014. I mean, really, I guess the biggest highlights that I had, I went to several big vaping events and big vape meets, national events. I don't even know what we should really call them anymore because there are so many, but I went to Vape Blast in Dallas, and then I went to Vape Bash in Chicago, as always. I went to VaporCon West in Reno. I went to ECC in Ontario, California, and I went to VaporCon East in Richmond, Virginia. I think that was it, right? Yeah, I was gonna try to go to VapeCan in Canada, but it didn't pan out, so it didn't happen. And other than that, what else did I do? I did go to DC, and two really good friends of mine. I like to call them good friends of mine. Maybe they don't. No, I'm just kidding. Slipgator and VFan. They had asked me if I could get ordained to perform their wedding. So I did, and did. So I got ordained, so I can now do weddings. So I went to DC area. It's easier to say DC area, and married them. So that was awesome. Probably one of the bigger things that I've been able to do. You know, I guess I should say it's probably the most impactful thing I've ever done, that, you know, in regards to someone's life. So, so very cool thing. You know, I mean, I've been in weddings. I've been a groomsman in weddings. I've been a best man in weddings, and you know, that's also a very big honor for someone to ask me to do things like that. However, in this particular case, I was actually doing the wedding. I'm responsible for them being married, on paper at least, not in the love department. But so very cool, big honor, and miss those guys too. And what else have I done? I think that's really it. I started a video channel, or not a video channel, but I did start shooting horror movie reviews with my cousin. And those are actually on this channel. If you go look for the Okie Horror Picture Show reviews, I think, sorry, my music is bouncing around. I think we've done five or six, I forget. And you know, it's one of those like you know, it's not an in-depth. Sorry, music volume's really weird. You know, it's not a technical, in-depth critical review. It's basically we watch movies that we enjoy. You know, something I've seen that he hasn't seen, or vice versa, and we talk about it in our typical bantering way. And of course, you know, being my cousin, you know, we've been friends since we were born because we're a month apart. So, yeah, one of my best friends in the world. So we have a great dynamic when we discuss things. So it's fun for us. If people enjoy it, then awesome. You know, and again, this isn't about that, but if you want to watch them, then by all means, that would be amazing for you to do that. So, but again, bear in mind, it's basically us just bullshitting. We would be doing that anyway without the camera. So we just decided one day, actually more he decided, it was really his idea, and that we should just film it. We should watch a movie and we should film us talking about it. So we did. So we started doing that. We've been meaning to do more, just time restraints and things, and you know, you get old and tired, and so we make big plans like, well, we're gonna do this shit, we're gonna, you know, 2 of them a month, we're gonna do 1 every 2 weeks, and then we're like, let's do it next week, you know, let's do it next week, and we just forget, you know, real life kind of gets in the way. But other than that, I got more tattoos, and which actually I also related to. I did pose a question, and if anyone wanted to know anything, if you know, I posed a question for others to pose questions to me, and that was one of them. Was about tattoos. So so we'll get to that. But I mean, I've set the foundation for my sleeve, well, half sleeve, I should say. So finished all that up. What else have I done? See, this is what happens when I start talking. I always think like there's so much to talk about, and then I'm like, there's really nothing to talk about at all. But getting into the questions, it will bring up things that would be more relevant to the questions and also related to my life. So that will probably answer more of, not answer more. I'm just talking in circles. I'm sorry. It'll fill in a lot of that space where I'm like, I don't even know what I did, but it'll spur memories and things. And so I guess some of the highlights, starting off, and again, most of my my life was involved in vaping events, for the most part. I mean, it was, you know, every few months I was traveling and going to an event. So starting off with Vape Blast in Texas, got to see a lot of very old friends, people that I haven't seen in years. And again, if I sat down and wrote a list of everybody that I saw, then I would still leave people off. So at this point, I can't even venture to name all these people. If you were there, then you know that I'm talking about you. So, you know, saw a lot of old friends, made a lot of new friends, which to me, that's, you know, that's my biggest accomplishment with vaping, I guess, is making new friends, meeting new people across the world, which generally consists of the United States. But, you know, there are international people that, you know, I socialize with, and it's amazing. But yeah, made a lot of new friends, starting off early in the year, so that was very cool. I would probably say the biggest highlight of that event was drinking minnows. In this particular bar that was near the hotel that I was at, there were, again, I'm going to name 2 people that everyone will probably know who they are. Dimitri and Phil Bizzardo. Dimitri, it's funny, I even asked him in the car how he pronounces his last name, and I don't remember. So everybody just knows him as Dimitri, the vaping Greek. But so the special in the bar was the minnow bomb, and so everyone was doing minnow bombs, and then Phil turned to me and said, "You need a minnow bomb," after they had drank them. So I had to drink a live minnow. Not as bad as you would think. My concern was it getting caught in my throat and me coughing and dying or something, or throwing up or something ridiculous and embarrassing. Thankfully, none of that happened, and it straight down, done deal. Then was Vape Bash in Chicago. It's very tough to categorize or to, you know, to say one thing was more fun than another. But I do think, and many things led to this, but I think Vape Bash in Chicago in 2014 was probably not, I wanted to say the most fun, but it's not like a level of like, this was the most fun I've ever had. It was kind of the most general, all around, bizarre, just well-rounded fun that I've had in 2014. I met tons of new people. We had a lot of our old crowd show up. You know, we kind of had everybody together, and it was amazing. And you know, just all the same faces around, and it was just great. And so yeah, I mean, you know, got to reconnect with a lot of old friends again. I mean, because some of these people, you know, I see them maybe once a year, maybe twice if I'm lucky. And so I was thankful that I got to see a lot of people multiple times this year. So, but that one, it was just the eclectic group of people that was there. Just, I don't know, there was something very special and very unique about that situation. That, so, you know, so many diverse people were there. And again, which that happens at most of our events, most vaping events, but I don't know, there was something very unique and very special about this one. And on top of that, I got to spend time with my good friend Lisa, Massive Mom Lisa. She took me out in the city, so I got to see some of Chicago after the event, and so that was great. Had a bit of a intimate fling with the girl there. We'll not talk about that. That was another interesting situation that I don't even know. So strange things. Other than that, I mean, it was, yeah, Chicago was great. And then, what was after Chicago? Reno was after Chicago. Yes, yeah, VaporCon West in Reno. By the way, Reno is hot as fuck. In case you're not aware of how hot it is in a desert, it's hot. So if you ever go to the desert, just remember that it's hot. I was under the misguided perception that the casino that we were in, the resort, would be like freezing balls cold, because a lot of casinos and you know, places like that, like, well, I don't live in Reno, but we have local casinos, and they're usually freezing. It's like a movie theater. You know, you go in and it's just cold, because everybody, there's so many people, so it's, it's hot, so they keep the AC pumping and it's freezing. That was not true. It was moderately tolerable, but it was not freezing. So I over-prepared when I went. I had many jackets, light jackets, not like heavy coats or anything, but my typical way of dressing. Never once got to put on any jacket because it was just hot inside. So, pro tip, if you go to VaporCon West in 2015, which is now, don't bring hot clothes because you're not going to need them. Maybe one jacket, just in case. But Reno was great. Again, first time to the West Coast, so got to meet a lot of great people out there. Made new friends again, saw a lot of old friends. And then following the event, I went and stayed with my buddy Grim, and from that also got to meet Matt and Vanessa from Suck My Mod, and Ruby Roo and her husband Josh, hashtag Josh is hot, and got to know them, well, got to know them better, whichever the correct term is, I had spoken to Ruby at Vape Bash, but we made better friends, I guess. We spent a lot of time together, like all of us as a group, so got to know each other really well, so that's awesome. All of them are great people, and of course I love making new friends, so good times. And then ECC, and I'm not gonna lie, ECC was not a great event. And I don't mean that in terms of logistics. I mean that in terms of social interaction. I go to big meets, so as I've pointed out multiple times now, I go to hang out with people and to meet people and to make friends and to socialize. ECC, not really that type of event. Just, but it's not really meant to be. I mean, in all fairness, I have, no knowledge that it's targeted to be that. It's a trade show. And for what it is, it's amazing. It definitely, it nailed it as far as the type of event that it was. Now, as far as going there thinking you're going to get a lot of intimate time hanging out with people and making friends and interacting and whatnot, you're not. So bear that in mind. If you're eyeballing going to a big event to make friends and get to chat it up, it's probably not going to happen at ECC. And really, it defers back to the fact that there's like 20,000 people. So it's just not a small, cozy, personal event. So tons of free shit, though. All the free shit you could ever want, you could get at ECC. All the new products, all the big products, literally anything you could ever imagine you could get at ECC. And it was nice visiting California. I'd never been to California. Again, first time Reno, West Coast, and then further over to California. So my first 2 trips to the West Coast. But still, aside from that, I did get to spend a lot of good time with a lot of good friends. Ironically, there were some Oklahoma vendors that went, and I got to hang out with them, or at least one of them in the bar. And so it's funny, like I spent a lot of time talking to people from Oklahoma in California, more so than I would have talked to them here in Oklahoma, just because we're 2 hours away. But it's just one of those bizarre world things. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun time. It was great as far as, the setup and everything. It was a great event. But again, this isn't about ECC. This is about me and my life. So, and then after that, VaporCon East, the the big one, my you know, the one that I started off with, whatever, you know, one of the first big events that, you know, being part of Vape TV, being a host at Vape TV. This is a Vape TV family event that, you know, all of us get to go and hang out, and we talk online a lot, but we don't hang out in person because we all live in different states. So, you know, when it started, that's what it was. I mean, it was a big chance for all of us to mingle and hang out, and, you know, and it's grown, and same thing, you know, end of the night, we're all in the convention room, everyone's friends, we're hanging out, and it's, to me, that's what vaping is about. Aside from saving lives and people, you know, switching over from traditional cigarettes to something much less harmful, to me, vaping is the vaping society. It's the friendships that are built, and it's the camaraderie and the fellowship, and some people miss out on that, and it makes me sad. Like, you know, I wish that I could bridge those gaps for people that feel like they're missing that aspect of it, and hopefully I can help with that in 2015. Come find me and we'll make you make friends with other people. Don't care if you're shy or not. I'm a shy person. We can work around that. And that was pretty much my my 2014. And sadly, we had a couple of losses of some really good people, and that sucks. I don't want to focus on bringing everybody down, but Drew from Inhaler, sadly we lost him, and we lost Nurse Sin. Cindy, great person. Thankfully, I had time with these people, and I was able to make friends with them, and, you know, and get to know them at least a bit. But it's very sad, and it sucks. I mean, life sucks sometimes that it takes people away from us. What can you do? But other than that, really not a whole lot of new things going on. I'm still single. I still have no children. My cats are still assholes. Well, I was in a wreck at the end of 2013. Details, whatever. Still fucked up from that, so that's pretty much going to be a thing. My back is broken for all intents and purposes. My rib cage is out of whack and hurts when I breathe, so that's amazing. I left the iPhone world. I left the world of Apple and switched over to Android. People have been telling me to do that for years. I finally did. Couldn't be happier. Again, that's a whole other discussion and argument. So, if you're not tied to the Apple world, just gonna throw this out there. I don't have a Mac. I don't have Apple TV. I don't have an iPod. I have no real ties to the Apple world. I purchased maybe 2 albums on iTunes, so no big loss for me to switch away. I mean, but if you're deeply ingrained, then by all means stay with it, because they're very close. To me, the option was more about the carrier and more about some different abilities, but Android and Apple are very comparable, and I won't fanboy out on either side for that, because I want a phone that does what I want it to do, and at times Apple was not doing that, so I looked at other options. But so yes, that was a big move. I feel like that was eventful enough. After being involved with Apple for 4 years, I broke up with Apple. I thought I had something else in my mind, but I don't think I did. I'm sure it'll come around if I do. So, that being said, I mean, that was really most everything about my life in 2014, which could seem a little sad. I fell in love with Minecraft, but I'm pretty sure I was still playing Minecraft in 2013. I got better at Minecraft, and was horribly addicted to Minecraft, and my ties have been severed lately because we don't have a server to play on, so no Minecraft for me lately, but that hurts me in my heart. So let's make with the questions, because I can't think of any other significant events in my life that are really worth mentioning. But I know some of them will kind of be answered inside some of these questions. So, and plus it's less like me talking about myself if I'm reading a question, right? I don't know. And everybody that sent questions, thank you, by the way, because it gives me things to talk about. So Casey Pickle, if you know her. Glitzy Flitzy, how did you get to be so fabulous? Lots of practice, and also I have no idea. It's, yeah, some of that is in jest, I know, but honestly, people have asked that before. What makes you do these things that you do? I've always been weird. I've always been a weird kid. Even when I was too young to really understand social, like social molding and fitting in and following crowds and, you know, popularity and outcastness. That's a word now. I was dressing weird. Like, I've always just kind of done what I wanted to do, and thankfully my parents supported that and let me be myself. So I like to believe that I'm fabulous because I tell you that I'm fabulous. If I told you, or if I never told you that, then you may not think it. So it's kind of a self-perpetuating myth that I am as fabulous as I force you to believe that I am. So I pretty much just have you convinced. If I didn't act like it, then I probably wouldn't be. I like to attribute it a bit to like the whole Mick Jagger complex thing, that if you look at Mick Jagger, he's not a very pretty person for a man or a woman, and but yet he's loved by the world over and adored. So he's convinced you that he's amazing. So that's what I do, is I convince you and tell you that I'm amazing, therefore you believe it. That just kind of makes me manipulative and a liar, I guess. I should probably rethink that answer. Grim Green, dear Flitz, longtime fan, first time caller. I was just wondering, why does my Pro Tank taste burnt if I turn the wattage up to 30 watts? It's because you're not a cloud chaser. You need to build, you need to drop the Pro Tank, and you want to get a cartomizer, and you want to drill a hole through the middle, and then you want to put red hots. I know, trust me, put red hots in it, and then you get a fishing hook, and you have to bend it into an S, and you wrap it through that hole that you drilled out into the middle of the red hot, and then you lick the side, and then you drip 100% PG, and you can vape it at 30 watts. It's an Easter egg they don't want you to know about. But that's pretty much how you do it. And then it will never taste burnt again. Also, follow-up question, where did the name Flitzanu come from? Also a question not many people ask. Some do, not many people ask. Has nothing to do with anything related to my real name in any way or fashion or form. Back in the high school, I was writing, because I used to enjoy writing more than I do now. I enjoy writing, I have no motivation. I wrote a short story, a short horror sci-fi story. And in that story, there was a monster that I had created, and somehow the vowels and consonants came together to make the name Flitzanu, because it flowed, it had diction, it had enunciation. I'm not making up words, those are real words, but it was just one of those things, like it just, the letters came together and it sounded cool at the time. It sounded like a weird name, you know, instead of like John the Monster, and so went with it. Then a few years later, first signing up to get internet service, had to come up with the username and password, email address, that type, you know how that works when you sign up for internet. Some people choose to use a real name. I chose not to, and first thing that came to mind, oh, I should use Flitzanu, knowing that I made up that name and had never seen it before. Then chances were better that no one would be using it, so that's what I chose to use. So pretty much ever since then, that has been what I've used on the internet, and it grew and became my my internet persona. So anyone using that name that's not me is a fucking liar and a thief, because it's mine. Robert, why are there not more cowbells? One thing I don't own is a cowbell. If I had a cowbell, there would be plenty more cowbell. Blake, what is your favorite beer and vape combo? Whatever it is, we will call it a Flitzanu. The only problem with that, I'm not a big beer drinker. I like alcohol, but I don't really like a lot of beer. The last beer, not literally the last beer that I drank, but the last beer that I consistently bought and drank on a regular basis was a shitty American beer that most of you know as Killian's Red. So that was really the only beer that I drank. That and Amberbach, another Texan beer, but another American beer. So I'm not really a big beer guy. I do, however, like vodka tonic. That's been my drink of choice for many, many years now. Prior to that, I used to drink Tom Collins and whiskey sour. That was also, had to think about that. Whiskey sour is another drink I used to partake in, but for many, many years now it has been vodka tonic, which is simple. It's vodka and it's tonic. You can't really screw it up. And for me, and this is actually, it's a valid question, again, in a jestful manner, but as mentioned previously, Ruby Roo, she does vaping reviews, and she does vape pairings with drinks and e-juice with flavorings and whatnot. So for me, though, when I was going to a bar, when I was first started vaping, what always went well and went best for me was rich tobacco, anything tobacco, because if I'm in a bar and drinking, that's what I associate with drinking is smoking. And so associating smoking and drinking was always tobacco. So, and still, you know, I think for me, it's something darker, not something sweet, because, you know, drinking vodka tonic, it's tonic-y. It's kind of citrusy and a little bit bitter. So something sweet to me doesn't really complement that well. I still prefer something dark, like more of a bitey, bitter tobacco flavor. Because it's opposite ends of the spectrum. I don't know. They complement each other in ways that they shouldn't, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be my thing. And a lot of people don't like tobaccos anymore because that's why we stopped smoking, was to get away from stupid tobacco flavor. But to me, I think that's always the one that goes best, because you've got that tangy, citrusy flavor from your drink, and then you got that harsh, tobacco-y bite and that nasty, menacing throat hit. And it's like a palate cleanser every time you drink, and you're like, oh, it's refreshing, and you vape and you're like, oh, it's back and forth. So that would be my answer. I know it's not a great answer about the beer thing, but Jason, will you touch my bum and make me feel pretty? Absolutely. That's a free service that I will offer, that I will touch your butt and call you pretty. Jesse, is it going to be about your favorite ways to seduce the world? Question about, is my vlog going to be that? Yes, I hope. I don't know if it's working. If the world feels seduced, then you'll have to answer and tell me if I'm doing a good job. Blake, again, why did I see you almost naked in public? That would be because you were at VaporCon West, and I was dressed as Slave Leia, and I was in a bikini and nearly naked. Also, I think I took my shirt off in the bar. I took my shirt off in the bar because a girl there wanted to trade me shirts. So at the time I felt it was a grand idea. So I took my shirt off and she handed me her sweater. And then I put it on. Amanda M. Who is your favorite Canadian? Obviously, my favorite Canadian would be Celine Dion. Everybody knows that. Second favorite Canadian, obviously, would be you. Why wouldn't you be? Yeah, obviously, you'd be my favorite Canadian, Amanda. Malice Doll, 2 words, fashion show. I don't have room for a fashion show. Fashion show would be looking through all my pictures. Eric, your thoughts on Zero Nick cloud chasers that never smoked? That's an iffy, touchy subject. Like, there are 2 parts to that question, or there are two sides of that question that automatically pop in my head. I find it strange, sort of, because when I was a non-smoker, because all of us were at some point a non-smoker, when I was a non-smoker, smoking seemed weird, but there's some weird primal thing about this inhaling and exhaling smoke. I don't know what it is. If you've never smoked ever, then you won't understand. But there's something very weird and primal about doing this, and I don't know why. Probably because we've been doing it for thousands of years. But someone that never smoked and deciding that they want to vape seems like a foreign thing. Like, it seems like a weird thing to get into. And under normal circumstances, I would probably talk someone out of doing that, because in ways it seems counterproductive to what we do as a whole, because, you know, we're, you know, on one side we're trying to get people away from using tobacco and convincing people that this doesn't create new smokers, because that's what the government wants to tell everyone, is that vaping leads to smoking, which is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. But vaping does create new vapors that were never smokers. Now, the side of it that I, you know, which again, that's kind of the side that I don't fully agree with, but the side that I agree with and I'm okay with is that at least they're doing it with zero nic. Not that nicotine is bad. I mean, it's a poison, yes, it could kill you if you drink it. But the fact that they're not picking up a new vice, you know, they're not picking up, it's not like somebody that doesn't drink saying, you know what, I want to start drinking non-alcoholic beer, because no one does that, because it would just be weird, you know. But for someone to be like, I don't smoke, but I want to exhale stuff, I want to, you know, like, I want to have that sensation, you know. So it's like you kind of get the ability and the, you know, the practical side of doing those things without the heavy assumed risk of smoking. So it's kind of a dual-edged thing for me, because I mean, I have friends that are zero nic vapors that didn't smoke, and not many of them, but there's also a difference in someone wanting to cloud chase as a lifestyle or in competition mode than there is someone that's like, I just want to vape. Like, maybe they're doing sub-ohm, maybe they're not, but, you know, they just want to vape, and it's not about competing. It's not about, like, my cloud's bigger than yours. Then that, you know, again, like, that's a whole different subsection, rather than someone taking it up to that next level of, like, I'm going to vape zero nic, and I'm going to fucking blow clouds, and I'm going to win cloud comps. Like, that I think is stupid. Go buy a car and tinker with that or something. I don't know. That's a very strange subsection of our whole community that I don't fully understand. And my screensaver just kicked on. If you have a perverted mind, does that make you a pervert? Yes. Eric. Different Eric. Yes, I think it does. Ruth, top 5 bands. When did you get into special effects makeup, and how did you learn? Oh, a tattoo and piercings video would be awesome, and I would totally watch. Excuse me. Top 5 bands. Tough. Really tough. 9 Inch Nails. Guar. Guns N' Roses. Marilyn Manson. Who else do I listen to a lot? And then Psychopathic Families, like ICP, Twisted. Like, I don't think I could really pick Twisted. We're gonna go with Twisted. 9 Inch Nails, Guar, Guns N' Roses, Marilyn Manson, and Twisted. Probably the top 5 that I listen to consistently. When did I get into SFX makeup? I was always into Halloween when I was younger. I'll find it and send it to you. I have a picture back before, like, when this first kind of started going mainstream, way back when you could get latex, and it was in like a kit to be Freddy Krueger, and I was probably 10, 11-ish, I don't know, and it was amazing. Like, I always wore makeup, like, you know, for Halloween. I always dressed up. And again, back to me being a weird kid. So dressing up was always kind of natural. As far as getting into real makeup, would have been 7 years ago that I started looking things up, and you know, it's kind of like I want to learn how to do this, I want to do that, I want to, you know, I want to learn about, you know, wearing, you know, foam latex prosthetics and, you know, different types of makeups and all of that. So it's probably 7, 8 years ago, and I really didn't watch a lot of tutorials. I just kind of, you know, I'm not an artist by any means. Like, that's the thing, is like, I cannot draw for shit. I can't paint. I do word art. I don't do visual, physical art. I am creative, but I'm not an artist in that sense. So for me, it's mostly, I know gore. I know scary. I know those lines between too fakey and too little, you know, and it's to me, it's just that balance of like, I can make this gory enough to be averting that people don't want to look at it. You know, not to the point where it's like, it's just grotesque and you look and you're like, that's just horrible. Like, it's this fake blood and you're just bloody and gross. You know, it's finding that art aspect of it to where it twists your perception just enough where you're like, that bothers me to look at you. And that's kind of what I go for, is that point where it's like, this is weird and it's disturbing. So it's finding that art as an art evokes an emotion. So that's what I go for. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much just practice. I made a friend online that is a makeup artist, and he's helped me with a lot of tips and stuff too. So, you know, so I had a little bit of, you know, somebody to bounce questions off of and kind of learn, you know, what the limits were of certain things. But other than that, it was diving in and doing it. The tattoo and piercings video, probably gonna have to cover. I'm looking at the time and I'm like, I have so many more questions. So we'll come back to the tattoo stuff and the piercings. I lost count. I have, I don't know, 10 or 12 piercings and 23, 24 tattoos now. So we'll come back to that one. Absolute best and absolute worst moment of the year from Candace. I should have thought something like this through, probably. Absolute best moment of the year in Chicago. Absolute worst moment of the year in Chicago. And I can tell you that story in private. Tom, what's the vlog? Where can I buy one? You silly bugger. And that's the end of that run. So I'm going to try to run through these questions. I'm already pushing 48 minutes, and I'm sure no one cares or gives a shit about what I have to say for 48 minutes, but we're going to push to an hour, and hopefully everybody listens and hangs out, and I don't know. Heather, how are you so damn smexy and not with someone permanently? Oh my fucking god, Flitzy. I just love you to bits. Followed by Shay Arrow. What she said. That's a very good question. One that I don't really have an answer to. I'm kind of one of those people that is perpetually single. I'm very picky. I'm very selective. I'm very vain and very superficial about girls that I date. Superficial to a fault, which could make me an asshole because I like hot girls. Of course, my hot can be very different than someone else's hot. I mean, it's still all very subjective, but overall, it still kind of makes me a superficial, vain asshole. But that's just how I'm wired. I like beauty. I like hot. I like pretty. I like adorable. I like cute. If you're not physically attractive to me, then I don't physically have chemistry. Like, you know, like that's just kind of how it works. And sadly, some people are wired to not behave that way, but that's just kind of how I am. But I can say over the course of 2014, there were a handful of girls that I slightly pursued, showed interest in, tried flirting with, tried sparking things with, and pretty much all of them failed miserably. So it's not always so much from lack of trying, but apparently there's something about me that is not desirable for people to want to date me. I don't know. And I don't mean that in a weird, emo, despondent way, but it seems clear that if every girl that I pursued this year was a complete failure, maybe I'm the denominator. Like, maybe it is something to do with me. So, I don't know. The handful of women goodly enough to date me in the past seem to think I'm okay, except for the parts about us breaking up, but generally, you know, they don't have too many negative things to say about me. One of them would, but we don't speak, so. But and I think those words would still be, you're a superficial, selfish, arrogant prick. That's why I have it on my chest now, because I am. It's fair warning. Most of it's an act, if you don't know that. Little Amber, how much has your love grown for your redheaded Ambers from 2013 to 2014? This much. Ironically, I have two BFFs named Amber. Both are gingers. One lives in Reno, one lives in Tulsa. The other irony, I probably see the one in Tulsa just as much as I see the one in Reno in a year. So, we had a conversation once that, you know, that she's the best ginger Amber that I know, and then realized I've got another ginger Amber. So I'm lucky enough in my life to have two lovely ginger Amber girls named Amber, if you're not picking up on that, as best friends. Nathan, or redheads in general. I have a thing for redheads. Unfortunately, Nathan is a handsome guy. I don't have a thing for redheaded guys. I don't have a thing for guys. Sorry, I only like vaginas. But gingers have a special place in my heart. They're kind of a rarity. So, plus they don't have any souls. Like, I feel so bad for them because they're born without a soul. That's got to be awkward in life. So I like to give them special attention. Larry, I just want to know when you and Rip Trippers are going to do a video together. I would love to do a video with Rip Trippers, but I don't think he speaks to anyone outside of his room, to my knowledge. We probably wouldn't get along very well on most topics, though. Other than him stealing my haircut. Daryl, who is better, me or my wife? Your wife is prettier? You're both equally amazing? I don't know the right answer. Tell me the right answer. Got to meet and hang out with them a few times this year too. That's been amazing. Daryl and Kim, great people out on the West Coast. Russell, is my Lemmy beard not just the sexiest? It is. You're the one person I know that can pull off a fucking Lemmy from Motorhead beard. It's the best. If you could change one thing about 2014, what would it be? From Kaylin. Events following Chicago. As I tell myself every year, to not be an idiot and to not do stupid things, but I still do them every year. Could have saved some time and some... I like to think of things as wasted effort, but honestly, they're not wasted effort. They're just things that I probably would have done differently. But no regrets. Never have regrets. No regrets for anything. Robert, what is your daily setup? Mech or digital, tank or dripper? I use 2 DNA 30 devices. One is a clone, one is not. They are, yeah, both DNA 30s. Honestly, 6-8 months ago, I was using standard 510 atomizers. 6 to 8 months ago, I switched over to rebuildables. February coming up is going to be my 6-year vapiversary. So it's only been in the last 8 months of my vaping career that I decided to give rebuildables a chance. So dripping for life, tanks. I like to change juice too much to use a tank. I don't like to go through that much juice at one time. Also, will you be in costume at Vape Bash or just pimp casual? I will be in costume for the costume contest at Vape Bash. However, during the day, I will be pimp casual. Malice then asked a ton of other questions, and I love her dearly. And I'm going to be skipping over many of them because now I'm just running out of time. I'll just have to shoot a whole video of answering every one of Malice's questions. Vanessa, the other half of Suck My Mod. My question is, why am I so amazing? Vanessa, it's just because you're you. Vanessa is an amazing person. This isn't about her, this is about me. Vanessa's fun and happy and cheerful and a joy to be around, and she's pretty easy on the eyes. So that's what makes you amazing. Plus you help people. You're like you do like nursing stuff and you save lives. That's why you're amazing. Plus you're friends with me, so that obviously makes you amazing. Tommy, how good was that cake? My good friend Tommy lives in New Orleans. Sent me a king cake for Thanksgiving, which I selfishly forgot to take to my family's house for Thanksgiving dinner, and then ended up eating it all by myself. And it was delicious. It's amazing. Now I gotta say, it's not as good as cheesecake. That's the way to my heart, is a blueberry cheesecake. Cheesecake with blueberry. But contender for second best. Cheesecake, king cake. Absolutely fantastic. And humbled, and thank you for sending me that, because it was delicious. Jesse, serious inquiry. Who is Flitzy? What do you do for work? House or apartment? I'd ask about boxers or briefs, but I'm pretty sure the answer would be none. Who am I? Just this guy. Just me. Just some random weird guy that lives in Oklahoma. What do I do for work? I can tell you that in private. I have an office job. I have a corporate office desk job. I mostly do stuff with Excel spreadsheets, that I'm a pro at Excel. Nothing glamorous, nothing exciting. I take out jewelry, I dress normally, and people don't recognize me on the street. It's the best. House or apartment, I live in a trailer. It was my brother's, and situation came up that I was gonna have to move out of my apartment. So I'm like, hey, why don't you move to this other place and I'll just move into your trailer because it's paid for. And so I pay virtually no rent, but I live in a white trash trailer in a trailer park. So it's essentially a free roof over my head, but it's a trailer. And again, no offense to people who live in trailers, because I live in a trailer, but not as glamorous as I would like. You know, I haven't made the decision to buy a house yet because I have to decide if I want to live in Oklahoma for the rest of my life. So that's a decision further down the road. But so that's when I make comments about living in a metal box, because I do. Boxers or briefs? Actually, neither. I wear boxer trunks. They're short, square, kind of. They're like boxer. Or they're not boxers or briefs. They're like boxer briefs, as you've seen, but they're short. It's the little short, square boxer trunks, like old, like 1960s square swim trunks. That's what I wear. You're welcome. Malice, Team Necro or Team Bestiality? Team Necro. And finally, Dino, who's the best mod maker in the world? Insignia Designs, obviously. Duh. So, we're at a minute 2. I feel like I had one other question, so let me check one other thing, because I really feel like I did. I had one other one from my buddy Slipgator. What are things that you think could possibly be or is new things you do this year, Wang? Probably 7 or purple, and maybe ice cream, if I were to guess. So that's what that is. My music seems like it's really loud now, but anyway. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching my year in review of 2014, which was basically me talking about going to vape meets and then me answering a bunch of random questions from all of you lovely people. So thank you. Thank you for watching, and thanks for being my friend. Thanks for talking to me online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my live streams, any other places that you talk to me. Thanks for talking to me in person and hanging out and being amazing. So you are the reason that I'm amazing. You're the reason I pretend to be amazing. So 2015, let's all hang out and hug and drink and party until the fucking sky falls. So here's to 2015. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you very soon. Vape or die, fucker.